Hi guys, today I am talking about some of the potential pitfalls with positive thinking. Now, before I get started, I'm not trying to undermine positive psychology. Ultimately, positive thinking can contribute a lot to our overall optimism and our general mental well being. That being said, the way in which positive thinking only or positive vibes only is portrayed sometimes, particularly on social media platforms, gives out a fairly powerful yet subliminal message about what sort of emotions are considered acceptable. Ultimately, we all experience both positive and negative emotions, and they include things like jealousy, like anger, like fear. And these are all perfectly acceptable emotions if we know how to process them properly, if we can sit with them. However, when we're continuously being given this message that we have to think positively, that we have to be positive all the time, it kind of undermines any of our negative emotions and gives out the message that we need to just ignore them, that we need to run from them, that we need to avoid them. And ultimately, when we begin avoiding our negative emotions, that's where most of our trouble starts. That's how so many people end up getting sick. When you repress things, when you push things down, generally they have nowhere to go. So they tend to fester, they tend to manifest into something far worse. Whereas when you are able to tolerate more negative emotions, when you're able to recognize them, to honor them, to process them without wallowing in them, then they just pass, like everything else in life. You're able to experience it and then move on. So it's important that we get to grips with sitting with, recognizing and processing our more negative emotions and experiencing them when we're in them. It's okay to be sad, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be jealous. You just don't need to stay there. Another area that I have an issue with is that when you're very focused on a positive outcome, you don't necessarily consider all of the potential pitfalls and obstacles that you may come across. And an important part of change is realizing that there's a lot of commitment, a lot of consistency, but also a certain amount of suffering involved. There's going to be pitfalls, there's going to be things as setbacks, there's going to be things that you hadn't accounted for. And if you're so focused on the positive outcome, you don't always account for those. You don't always plan for the future. You don't always equip yourself with the tools necessary to get you through to that final destination. As I said, it's lovely thinking that there's going to be this positive outcome and, that you shouldn't have to worry about things. But ultimately, you also need to be mindful. You also need to be realistic. Now, this doesn't mean that you worry frantically, but it just means that you consider all possible eventualities when you're planning change, when you're planning aspects of your life. So, as I said, positivity has a powerful role to play in our mental health. However, do not let it dampen your ability to sit with and experience negative emotions, nor your ability to plan realistically for the future or for any goals that you may be working towards. If this is something that resonates with you, or if you'd like to work with me on any mental health issue, get in touch with me on the website. It's fundamentals.ie. You'll also catch me on Instagram and Facebook, and both of those pages are called Fundamentals. I also release a regular podcast with the fabulous Neil O'Brien. It's called Touchy and Feely. It talks about all things mental health, finding more purpose in life. Really enjoyable listen. So go check it out. Like, share, subscribe. Let us know what you think. And go check out my YouTube channel. It's Fiona Feely. It has lots of valuable content on how to look after your mental health and how to live a more fulfilling life. So again, check it out. If you like any of the content, share it, subscribe to the page, and if there's anything specific you would like me to discuss or go over or produce a video on, please do not hesitate to get in touch with me.